Last night, Congressman Adam Kinzinger of Illinois became the first Republican lawmaker to publicly call on Congressman Matt Gaetz to resign following the revelation that he's the subject of a federal sex crimes investigation. And now the House Ethics Committee says it's opened an investigation of its own, citing a laundry list of potential misconduct that's been alleged publicly. Gaetz' office responded in a statement saying these allegations are blatantly false and have not been validated by a single human being willing to put their name behind them, unquote. However, the mounting scrutiny is already prompting defections from Gaetz' staff. As the New York Times revealed last night, a second senior aide resigned last Friday. This time it's his legislative director, a job that's considered among the highest ranking of any congressional office. According to one of three sources cited by the Times, that aide told associates that he was interested in writing bills, not working at TMZ. This comes after 10 straight days of breaking news on this probe, which appears wider in scope than we first understood. Last week, based on the public reporting to date, we're now aware, since last week, on the basis of the public reporting to date, we're now aware of 4 different avenues of investigation. Whether Gaetz had sex with a 17-year-old minor, whether he paid for sex with women who were recruited online, whether he accepted paid escorts in exchange for political access or favors during a trip to the Bahamas. And the latest line of inquiry is focused on a reported conversation about running a spoiler candidate in a Florida state Senate race. That last aspect of the probe was reported last night by the New York Times, which notes that the line of inquiry in question is in its early stages. Gaetz has denied the conduct under investigation, and tonight he's rearing his head again after a period of relative silence since that weirdly uncomfortable Tucker Carlson interview in which he seemed to try to drag the Fox News host into the mire with him. As we speak, the embattled congressman is at the former president's Florida golf club, delivering remarks to the pro-Trump group Women for America First. Now, if that group sounds familiar, that's because it was one of the same groups that organized the rallies that led to the January 6th insurrection. Joining me now is former U.S. Attorney Joyce Vance and Fernand Amandi, Democratic pollster and strategist out of the great state of Florida. Joyce, let me start with you on this. So there's a lot. I mean, I feel like every day there's a new line of inquiry focused on Gaetz, whether it's paying for sex, the sex with a minor. There's this federal investigation that's scrutinizing this Bahamas trip. The New York Times reported the FBI has widened its investigation to include questions about whether a trip to the Bahamas he took with Republican allies in Florida and women, quote, who were asked to provide sex for them. According to CBS, Gaetz was on a trip with a marijuana entrepreneur and hand surgeon named Jason Pirizzolo, who allegedly paid for the travel expenses, accommodations, and female escorts. He hasn't been charged with anything as yet, but how much trouble do you think he might be in?
There's an awful lot here, Joy, and the allegations aren't just of one crime. They're potentially of multiple different sorts of situations. It's hard to get a read because no charges have been filed of how seriously DOJ is taking this and where their emphasis is the greatest. But the real risk for Gaetz is that once the FBI starts looking, they're not constrained. This is no longer Trump world where the president can say, my personal finances are a red line, right? They can look at whatever they think is important. The core of this, though, has to be any child sex crimes. DOJ takes that seriously. There's an entire division inside of the criminal division at Main Justice called CIOS that focuses on child exploitation. So if those allegations pan out, if they can be proven with evidence, then Gaetz is in a lot of trouble there. Those charges carry some pretty heavy mandatory minimum sentencing applications.
Hey, thanks for watching our YouTube channel. You should know that you can follow today's top stories and breaking news and catch up on your favorite MSNBC shows all in one place. Download the NBC News app today.